Did you notice one big NCL ship missing on that list? We're gonna get to that in a second. Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're gonna talk about 4 awesome cruise cabins and 1 terrible one. Welcome back, everybody. This video is going online on Sunday, October 13th. And before I get started, I want to let you know that I am right now, at this moment, while I'm recording this video, having some kind of allergic reaction and my eye is swelling up. Do you guys see this? I've had this happen before. And the first time was in Miami with my mom, and I thought that I had rubbed jalapeno juice in my eye, and I thought that's why it was swelling up. But I definitely have had no jalapeno juice in my eye today. And yeah, just as I sat down and wanted to start filming, it just got all swollen up. Anyways, I wanted to mention it so people aren't like, geez, what's up with his eye? Speaking of eyes, I've had major surgery on my eyes twice. If you want to hear about it, tell me in the comments below. Anyways, how many minutes have gone by already and we haven't even talked about cruising yet? If this is the first of my videos you're watching, I have been on 16 cruises now on 15 different cruise ships, and I've only cruised on one ship twice, and that ship is going to be on this list. All of the cabins I'm going to be talking about, there are videos to those cruise cabin tours on my channel. I'm going to link them in the description below, and I will put the little, the cards up here in the corner, so if you're watching this on your computer, you can click on the cards, and otherwise, you can just search YouTube for the name of the cabin to see the whole cabin tour after you're done watching this video. I'm gonna start with the cabin that I feel like was just the coolest, the most interesting, or the one that I wanted to talk about the most. And that is my solo balcony cabin on the Royal Caribbean Anthem of the Seas. I had a great time on the Anthem of the Seas altogether. I flew to New York and then I cruised from New Jersey to Bermuda and back to New Jersey, and then flew home from New York. It was a cruise. It was like the most spontaneous cruise I've ever booked. I think I booked the flights and the cruise, I think 5 days before I left. That was crazy. I loved the Anthem of the Seas. I loved Bermuda. I wasn't so keen on cruising out of Bayonne in New Jersey, but hey, you win some, you lose some. And one thing that I especially enjoyed about being on the Anthem of the Seas as a solo traveler is they have a very small amount of solo balcony cabins for people traveling alone. Usually, if you go on a cruise on your own, everything is more expensive because they're trying to make up the money for the fact that you're taking up space and you're only one person and not 2 people. So Royal Caribbean has created a fantastic solution for that on the Anthem of the Seas, and I don't know if the other ships in this class, like the Quantum of the Seas, I don't know if they also have this cabin class, and I know that other people have said it's very difficult to get one of these cabins. I obviously had no problem because I signed up for the cruise 5 days before it left and still got one. But I don't know, maybe that was luck of the draw. So usually if you are going as a solo traveler on a cruise ship and cruising in a balcony cabin, you're gonna pay way more than you would pay if you were cruising with somebody else in the cabin with you. And also way more than just like the least expensive inside cabin, which is what most solo travelers usually do. This cabin had everything that a normal size balcony cabin would have. It was just a little bit smaller. And in fact, I want to say that even though it was smaller than a normal balcony cabin, it was most definitely still larger than an inside cabin on a lot of ships, including the Norwegian Jade that we were on a couple of years ago as well. So that was the #1 cabin on my list that I wanted to talk about. Just this cool, like mini balcony cabin on the Anthem of the Seas. Moving on. I'm kind of going down the list here from like most interesting, and then at the bottom is going to be the one that I find, I wouldn't say least interesting, it's definitely very interesting, but not in a good way. And the next cabin I wanted to talk about is the virtual balcony cabin I had on the Royal Caribbean Harmony of the Seas. At the time that I cruised on the Harmony of the Seas, it was the biggest cruise ship
in the world.
And I had a fantastic time on the ship until I stepped on a rock and cut open my foot and had to get stitches. And the ship was so fantastic that I still had a good time after that anyways. And one thing that made it so special was the cabin that I had, and it was an inside cabin with a virtual balcony. Not too long ago, I made a Sunday Sofatime talking about just everything I loved about the Harmony of the Seas, so if you want to hear more about that ship, look for that video as well. But today we're talking about the cruise ship cabins, and yeah, what a virtual balcony cabin is there is a camera to the outside of the ship, and it has a live feed to a gigantic screen on the wall that is hung, you know, with curtains, and it looks like it's a balcony, but it's really a TV. I know, it sounds totally spacey, and I wasn't expecting it to look anywhere near as real as it did. And I mean, you know, it's a television, and I'm not saying that you at no point did I forget for a second that it wasn't a virtual balcony. I'm not saying it's that real, but when it comes to wanting to feel there's sunlight and stuff in the room, and when you're waking up in the morning wanting to know what it's like outside, it was perfect for that. It just was a really special upgrade to compared to just having a normal inside cabin. And I think actually that I got a special deal on that cabin as well for being a solo traveler. So double bonus. If a normal balcony cabin is outside of your budget and you're going to be cruising on a ship that offers some kind of virtual porthole or virtual balcony, then I say definitely go for it. It's a really cool thing to have. Okay, moving down the list, we're coming to the Norwegian Escape. I'm a big fan of Norwegian's larger ships. I've had great experiences on them, and the time that I cruised on the Norwegian Escape was the first and only cruise that I got to do with my mom. I'm hoping there's more coming. And on that cruise, we had a mini suite. Now, I've made videos about that as well, and like I said, they're gonna be linked below, where I show comparing a normal balcony cabin to a mini suite balcony cabin. And I know that I don't necessarily need to spend the extra money for that again, for the upgrade to a mini suite, but it was definitely nice to have. And altogether, I just really appreciate the modern designs of the larger Norwegian ships. And when I say the big NCL ships, I'm talking about the Getaway, the Breakaway, the Escape, the Joy, and the Bliss. Did you notice one big NCL ship missing on that list? We're gonna get to that in a second. Marcus and I have also been to Vegas a lot. It's been a long time since we've been there, but one thing that we really enjoy about being in Vegas is staying in these sort of kind of luxury or very fancily designed hotel rooms. It feels like staying in some place that's been designed by some famous designer, somebody who we would never be able to afford in real life to come into our home and pick out the furnishings and the colors and things like that. And that is the same kind of feeling that we got staying in this mini suite, but also just any of the cabins on those NCL ships I just mentioned. To me, they just seem much more modern than the Royal Caribbean ships, although a lot of the Royal Caribbean ships have undergone some renovations recently, and I haven't been on the last Royal ship I was on was actually the Anthem of the Seas, and that was already 2 years ago. So I don't know, maybe my information is outdated, but I just know that comparing to our cruise on the Freedom of the Seas and the Mariner, and just that the design of the cabin seemed a little bit, plain and outdated, whereas the newer NCL ships seem I don't know, cool and fancy. The next cabin on this list is probably going to surprise some of you because it's been sort of a topic on my channel, and this still is included in the positive things. So I've got one more positive one that I think is going to surprise a lot of you, and then the not so positive one. But before I get to both of those, it's time for a commercial right here. Did you see one? Was it for a cruise ship? All right, the next cabin that had something that I really want to talk about and that also surprised me in a positive way was actually on the MSC Meraviglia. Now, I know I've done, I don't want I don't know, would you consider it MSC bashing? Anybody who's been watching my channel for a while knows that I am not a huge fan of MSC. That doesn't mean that I hate them. It's definitely not like that at all. I just think compared to what other cruise lines offer, they still have a long way to go. And after our first cruise on the MSC Magnifica, several years ago, I don't know, like 6 years ago maybe, actually, back then, we said we probably would never cruise with MSC again. So I'm really glad that we tried the Meraviglia. And like I said, there's all kinds of videos about that experience on my channel, in my library. But I'm glad we tried it again because now I know that for the right price, it's still kind of an option. We cruised on the Meraviglia, yeah, I guess that was the last cruise that Marcus and I both did together. That was when? January of this year? February? This year has been so busy. And the cabin was just like the larger NCL ships. It seemed to be very classily, fancily designed, and being in it and staying there made me feel, I don't know, like my life had been upgraded. And another thing that I thought was really special about it was we had this gigantic balcony. And it wasn't like something that we paid extra for. It was just because of the design of the side of the ship. And the Meraviglia isn't the only ship that's designed this way. It's something that happens on a lot of ships, but I'm pretty sure that on other ships, if you were to land in the cabin that we were in, that it would have been some kind of extra price or upgrade or I don't know, like XL balcony or something like that. But as far as I remember from the booking process, we paid the same price as it would have been for a normal balcony cabin. Yeah, and then it ended up with this huge, like triangular shaped balcony, and it was awesome. All right, now, all of those cabins I just mentioned, they were all things that had like positive things about them that I remember and that I like to talk about and that I would enjoy experiencing again. Now we're gonna move on to the one thing that that I've talked about so much on this channel. I'm sure a lot of you know what's coming, but if you don't know, then I'll just tell you, it's the Norwegian Epic cabins. So the Norwegian Epic is the first of the mega ships from NCL, and it was the first NCL ship that Marcus and I had ever been on, and also the first and only transatlantic cruise we've done to date. I love just about everything about the Epic over the Getaway and the Escape that we were on, except the cabin design. The cabins on the Epic are just odd. They have a weird sort of curve to them. The bed is curved then as well. So if you're, a tall person, your feet are definitely going to be hanging out of the edge. And then they've got this horrible sort of like half open bathroom design. Hashtag show and tell toilet. Hashtag show and tell shower. And then the little wash basin, which is like literally this big to wash your hands in or shave or whatever, or if you just want to wash your face. It's literally this big and it's like in the cabin. So you splash water everywhere. I have this thing, I don't know, maybe some people think it's weird, maybe some people don't, but when I have to like do number 2 on the toilet, I like my privacy. I don't want people to see me or hear me or smell me. Is that too much to ask? Apparently it is for the designer of the cabins on the NCL Epic. If you haven't seen my videos of it, like I said, look in the description below or just search YouTube for NCL Epic balcony cabin and I bet one of my videos will pop up. I think I've made 2 videos about it now because like I said, I actually have cruised on that ship twice, which was just totally a coincidence. And I wouldn't say I wouldn't cruise on it again. It's not that bad. I mean, the whole rest of the ship is just so awesome that it kind of makes up for that yucky cabin design. And I know I've had so many conversations about, yeah, who came up with that? How did that get approved? And how has it not been changed yet? And now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments. Live on air. Last week's Sunday Sofa Time wasn't really a traditional Sunday Sofa Time because my week was just so crazy and then I had a problem. The video that I wanted to upload Friday, I started editing it together and I realized I can't upload it for couple different reasons, and now I'm going to put it on my Patreon. So if you are a member of my Patreon, which is patreon.com/veryunofficial, you've probably seen it already, or you can go there and see it, and you'll see why I can never upload it to my normal channel. And so the video that I wanted to post instead of Sunday Sofa Time became the Friday video, and then I didn't have anything for Sunday because I just didn't have any time last week. And I know from comments and conversations with you all how you enjoy that the Sunday videos are a little bit longer, so that's why I'm saying it didn't feel like a normal Sunday Sofa Time for me, because the video I uploaded last Sunday, although it was just me chatting with the camera, was just too short. So I'm going to go back 2 weeks and comment on the comments of the video that I made called Don't Make These Cruise Mistakes. The first comment is from the Going Away Guide. Going Away Guide writes, even flying in the night before isn't a guarantee. We did a cruise in August for my mom's birthday. Her flight the night before was canceled, and the airline couldn't get her on a flight to get in the next morning in time to make the embarkation, so she missed the cruise. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. I mean, can you imagine? They did everything right. They booked so that she would fly in the day before, which is what I say in the video you should always do. That's a mistake you shouldn't make. And she still missed the cruise. Awful. Going Away Guide, I'm sorry that happened. The next comment is from, I'm not sure how to say this, Mrs. Cruz Quite 07 Phalo? You know who you are. Mrs. Cruz writes, the magical elf is great for handicapped and the elderly. Also, I watch some people with all this luggage struggling with the stop and go process of debarkation, but not for me. I love the magical elf, and hopefully he gets some of the tip money we pay to the service crew. Yeah, what she's talking about is, I was saying that the cruise line suggests that you leave your luggage outside the door the night before the end of the cruise, and then I say these magical elves come and take it and bring it off the ship for you, and then you pick it up on land the next day, and I don't like to do it that way. I like to have it with me, and I just wanted to inform people that you don't have to do it that way, and so that's what she's talking about. And yeah, I have nothing, if you like to do it, I'm not saying I don't think anybody should do it, but I just know I would rather not do it. Final comment from Kathleen Locke. Kathleen writes, I have a friend who, some years ago, went on a cruise with her husband, and they were shocked at the end about how much they had spent without thinking about it. Oh yes, we've all been there. They weren't disputing it, they just had sticker shock and learned a valuable lesson. I would think the other advantage to carrying your own luggage off the ship is, once you're off, you're good to go. Yeah, so both of those things, talked about both of those things in the video, to check your onboard account every day and not just on the last day. And yeah, and then about the luggage as well. Kathleen, I hope that your friends went cruising again and did it differently the next time. And that's it for another Sunday Sofa Time right here in front of the red sofa at home. I hope that you had a good time. I hope you're gonna have a great day and you've had a great weekend. I made it through the video without my eye exploding, so hey, that's a good thing as well. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.